Welcome to Waking Up America, the Not Morning Show. Today's news: Illinois bans semi-automatic rifles, and the ATF releases an unconstitutional rule on pistol braces. Let's talk about this while we still can. I am your host, Alexander Graves, the constitutional conservative perspective of the night, and I am joined by my co-host and Zoomer / half-ass libertarian, Devin Adler. Great to see you.
That's me. Yeah, good to be here.
He's also known for paying bums to fight for reasons. Pray for Devin.
Funny.
Yep.
It's cheap too. Easy.
Get some prayers down in the chat for Devin. Please follow us on Twitter at America Wake Up if you guys want to see more of this content. And like I say every time, before we get into the news here, if you guys would like to support us, please buy me a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/wakeup. Put your comments down below. Be sure to like, subscribe. We are trying to hit 1,000 by the end of the month. It's definitely maybe possibly an overzealous goal, but we're going to keep chugging on. Alrighty. Let's get into the first story of the day here. I posted on this when they released it with the following. With a stroke of the pen, the ATF just made millions of Americans break the law with absolutely no law passed by Congress. The ATF has overstepped their bounds, and I look forward to them getting obliterated by the Supreme Court. Abolish the ATF. We're going to dig into this article. First initial thoughts before we get into it.
ATF is cringe. The ATF also doesn't like disabled people, apparently.
Or dogs.
They're ableist, right? Because pistol braces are often used by people with physical disabilities to still be able to effectively use a weapon.
Yep. They
so
don't like
we're
dogs
just
either.
We're going to take their logic and just throw it back at them and say that they're ableist. Let's get them canceled on Twitter.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. That's true.
Yeah.
If we get the left to cancel them, then we don't have to worry about them anymore.
Dude, Megamind.
I mean, before I even dive into this entire ruling is unconstitutional. It is them essentially creating laws without an act of Congress, with no representation of the people. They have just decided arbitrarily this product is illegal because we can. That is something a dictatorship does. It is unconstitutional. It will be struck down by the Supreme Court. The ATF has been taking loss after loss after loss after loss in the Supreme Court. Let's go and dive into the article here. So, the rule was announced in a somewhat cryptic statement from the Justice Department, which has been weaponized by the Biden administration, on January 13th, 2023. And it says that if an individual, manufacturer, or retailer puts a brace on a firearm that was not designed as a pistol and has a barrel under 16 inches long, it is now considered an SBR, or short-barreled rifle, under the NFA, National Firearms Act of 1934, Communist Act. There is no way of knowing how many braces are in circulation, but it's in the millions. Even the ATF estimates 7 million braces exist. But according to the Congressional Research Service, that number could be anywhere from between 10 and 40 million. So you're saying that you're going to go door to door at best, and this is assuming everybody suddenly just decides to register these firearms. What is your proposal here? How are you going to enforce the law? This is not an enforceable law. That is one of the stringent scrutinies that it requires to pass the Supreme Court. This is not an enforceable law. Up to 40 million people potentially have this. How do you enforce this?
You don't. It's I don't know if they're just looking for headlines or what the plan is, because hopefully this gets struck down by the Supreme Court. Like you said, they've had a history of losing. So yeah. I'm not really sure what the plan was here. Ultimately, not only is it unconstitutional, it's a waste of time, it's a waste of taxpayer money, and it's just on a baseline level, it's wrong. I mean, the three-letter agencies don't get to tell me what I can and can't do.
Disarmament is the end goal of communism. You need to disarm the populace, because an armed populace will not let you take them over. That's why the Biden administration is pushing this. It is part of the left's agenda. They have continued to try to strip this. They're going after the guns, they're going after the ammo, and they're not going to stop until they get it. And this has been a constant theme of the Biden administration of, we're going to break the law, we're going to pass unconstitutional laws, and we're going to just take advantage of it while the Supreme Court takes years to finally see this case. Hopefully they expedite this and the other rulings. I know several places have opened lawsuits against them, so hopefully that gets pushed to the courts. The Bruin's decision has essentially instilled with the Supreme Court for stare decisis or precedent that they are not a governing agency. They cannot create laws. That can only be done through an act of Congress. And I would say there's probably a 99.9999% chance due to stare decisis, that they will strike this ruling down as unconstitutional, if not even on the Second Amendment argument, just because the rulemaking, like they are literally creating laws without representation from the people. So back into the story here. Today's rule makes clear that firearm manufacturers, dealers, and individuals cannot evade these important public safety protections simply by adding accessories to pistols that transform them into short-barreled rifles. So they are going directly after the market, after the gun stores, who are going to freak out. They're going to start removing them from all their firearms, obviously, because they are governed by the ATF. And important note here, the rule goes into effect on the date of publication in the Federal Register and allows a 120-day period for manufacturers, dealers, and individuals to register any existing NFA short-barreled rifles covered by the rule. The normal SBR tax will be waived. Oh, wow. Ooh, yeah. Ooh, wow. The SBR tax is waived? Great. Thanks. By the way, please hand over all your guns.
I hope the ATF also realizes that when they pass bullshit laws like this, people that think like me are just going to go, oh, a felony is a felony either way, and they're going to take this. Not only are they not going to remove the brace, it's going to continue to stay a short-barreled rifle, and it's probably going to end up with a third pinhole and a coat hanger. Like, a felony is a felony. You're already fucked if you get caught with the weapon. You might as well send it. Like, ultimately, they are saying that it's a public safety issue, but really it's not. And they might end up creating an even greater public safety issue by passing all these bullshit laws.
I mean, that's the thing. When you turn people into criminals, what do you think they're going to do? I mean, they're not going to suddenly go back to law-abiding. Once you break that line, like, there's no stopping it. But like I said, they have a 120-day period. I hope it gets struck down and changed before then. We'll see what happens with the court. I would hope they make an expedited ruling on this, but more than likely they need it to actually go into effect first. And then have somebody unfortunately persecuted to be able to bring that case to the Supreme Court to have proper standing. But we'll see what happens. I think this is dangerous. I think this is in the communist playbook, and I think we're going to see more of this, and we already have. Next story here, and this is completely related. Governor Pritzker, I'm just going to call him Governor Prick, signs Illinois assault weapons ban. This is a completely unconstitutional law. Okay. A well-regulated militia being necessary for the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. There's no extra commas in there. It's a clear statement.
I should know. I should know. It's that dude on my left arm.
All right, that's kind of based.
Yeah.
All right. So he passed the assault weapons ban and the high capacity ammunition magazine ban on Wednesday night after the state and Senate House approved the legislation. If you live in Illinois, get the hell out now. What are you doing? Literally leave that state. If you have not left Illinois by now, honestly, you're part of the problem. Stop giving these people money. When they instituted the firearms ID card, same thing with New Jersey. And required you to have ammunition shipped directly to your home, and you had to send your firearms ID card and driver's license to these websites. You should have been gone then. Stop giving these people money. But we're gonna delve into it for those of you that are still stuck there. The important thing is here. So Speaker Welch said that the legislation bans the sale, delivery, and purchase of assault-style weapons and high-capacity magazines in Illinois, and long guns will be limited to 10 rounds per magazine, and handguns cannot have more than 15 rounds. So this is the same as New Jersey. I am hopeful this stuff gets to the Supreme Court because it will 100% get struck down as not constitutional in any stretch of the imagination here. And to make things worse, so this is what they want, right? So this article is from 2018. Okay, they're basically demanding people turn in and register their firearms. And this is what you're going to see. An example of what happened in 2018 to this California farmer. He tried to register his AR with the state, and they charged him with 12 felonies. They want you to be put away. They don't want you to be a law-abiding citizen. This has nothing to do with just gun control. It has to do with getting rid of political dissidents, anyone who is against the regime, and taking away your right to self-defense.
The worst part for me about that article, that said farmer that tried to register his firearm with the state, he was playing ball with them. He was playing by their rules. You want me to register my firearm? No problem. I'll bring it down to the station. We'll go ahead and get it registered. And he was playing by their rules, and he showed up and they put him in cuffs and they charged him with 12 felonies. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, and the funny thing, well, I'd say morbidly funny, is that so he's actually the CEO of Scott Kirshenman Farms, and he was supplying potatoes used by Frito-Lay. So he's an integral part of the community, and he was still following all the laws, and they still arrested him. So it doesn't matter what part of the community, if you're poor, if you're rich, they don't like you if you own guns. The communists need you to be disarmed. So the office of the Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker here has responded to widespread criticism expressed by sheriffs around the state in response to the new gun control bill that was recently signed into law. I have one of those sheriffs here, so I'm just going to play a small little video for you.
And we have to follow the laws, but people don't understand that as the sheriff, we're the keeper of the jails. We do have a say who can come in and out of our jails.
Sheriff Booker announced that Whiteside County will not check that gun owners registered their weapons to the state. Booker believes the federal law overrules the state law, making the bill unconstitutional.
It's going after the law by...
My favorite part of this video is that they show an AR platform, but it's chambered in 22. So it's like, it's so scary. It's a 22, guys. Calm down. Settle down.
It doesn't matter. It's black. There's no wood furniture. It's scary.
Sorry, I just had to point out. Whatever. It's lost. Never mind. This reporter just. Yep. Okay. Anyway, so the importance of the sheriff's department. They do not have to enforce unconstitutional laws. They don't, because they are constitutionally represented by the people. It is the only constitutional law enforcement that is allowed in the United States. We have a police force, but it is not a constitutional protective force. The sheriff's department is the only one because it is direct representative of the people. People will elect the sheriffs, and if they don't like what they're doing, guess what? They'll vote them out. So Illinois, if they don't like them for not enforcing laws, they'll vote them out. But guess what? If the people actually like self-defense, being able to defend themselves against criminals, he's going to stay in power. And screw the governor. I wish more sheriffs were like this, honestly. Your thoughts?
Yeah. The problem with this instance specifically, though, is I guarantee you that the order to knock down the door isn't going to come through the sheriff's office. It's going to be federal authorities. If there are actually people in these counties that are like openly saying, like, yeah, especially because we live in a very social media heavy age, there's going to be people in these counties that are like, oh yeah, fuck the governor, look at all my automatics that have 30 rounds in them, and then somebody's going to report it to the ATF, and then his door is going to get knocked down. And we saw that in the Duncan Lemp case. That was a pretty good example of somebody who was just decided that they weren't going to follow the law, and the order to kick down his door didn't come through the local sheriff's department. That was all federal authorities. And the problem is with this specific instance is, yeah, these county sheriffs can say we're not going to enforce it. Somebody above them will.
Yeah, and this is what I'm talking about. Unfortunately, every time these communist governors pass laws like this, somebody innocent, unfortunately, has to fall on the sword for us to get it repealed. I don't know how many times you can say shall not be infringed. It should not need to be encoded any further into the law than that. The Supreme Court needs to make a just blanket statement on this. We don't need gun laws. We don't. Just full stop. We do not need gun laws. Ooh, you want criminals to get guns? Doesn't matter. If the good guys have guns, it doesn't matter. Because you know what stops a criminal with a gun? A bunch of good guys with guns. Yeah. I mean, the arguments are just so baseless on the anti-Second Amendment argument. And I mean, you have so many mothers who and mothers with their kids who protect themselves with firearms every year. It's something like 2 million defensive uses of firearms every year, and they want to strip that from you. This is why we need to elect pro 2A candidates, and we need to bolster the Second Amendment. The Supreme Court needs to take actions. on this. They absolutely, like, they are so hesitant against going towards them, and then the ATF usually tries to drop their cases right towards the end when they realize, like, oh, we're gonna lose it. Because I mean, if this goes to the Supreme Court, specifically the brace issue, I mean, it's gonna absolutely just destroy the ATF. And I don't even understand, like, we need to repeal the ATF because alcohol's legal, tobacco's legal, firearms are legal. What the hell's your job, honestly?
To generate headlines is their job.
No, I think their job is
to waste tax money. So, you know, at what point do we burn down the building and stop paying taxes to these people?
Well, I mean, I think they might be better suited working for the pound, considering all they seem to do is shoot dogs.
Yeah, be like that.
Yeah. I mean, so Matt Gaetz in the Senate has proposed basically going after the heads of the ATF and completely stripping their salaries out. But, you know, they're just going to be supported by left-wing organizations. But that's what they're hoping to do in this Congress, is go after these career politicians in the ATF and strip them of their financials, and freeze any holdings that they have to prevent them from doing what they're doing, where they're violating the Constitution, just waiting for us to be able to get our freedoms back. I mean, it's very tiresome that they can strip you from your freedoms and you can't come back, but you can't have freedoms added because, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So.
And I don't know that Gates' solution is enough, really.
No, we need to defund it.
We could, 100%.
Abolish it even.
Yeah, 100%.
So, another great reason to have a gun. I've got a little video here to end this with for you guys. Let me go and pull this up. This is I don't know if I'm not gonna be able to make that full screen. So this is a guy, if you see with the arrow, he's sitting there having dinner with his girlfriend or date, whatever, and says, "Who said chivalry is dead?"
Y en el cielo descubrió gaviotas y pintó estelas en el mar.
I hope I don't get copyright for that song. I don't even know what it's saying. But so this guy comes in with his gun. He walks by the guy, points at somebody else. She's looking at that, and he literally just stops and walks away. Well, she comes, turns around, and is like, "Where'd my date go?" That's the state of our world.
I recommend pretty much everybody I know. When I tell them, if you think you're responsible enough, please carry a firearm.
Honestly,
everybody I know. My very first job, my first paycheck, my sister had just moved to a big city, and she was telling me, I don't really feel all that comfortable living here. You know, there's a lot of crime in this particular area, and just not that comfortable. My very first paycheck, I handed my mom like $300 cash. I said, go down to the store, buy Kaylee a gun. It was my first paycheck. It's important to me. And not only that, but like another good example, I have a lot of gay friends. And they're always like, oh, it's really hard being gay in a conservative area because I can't express myself in public without fear of retribution. Carry a gun. Armed minorities are a lot harder to oppress. Carry a gun. Everyone should have a gun.
I agree with you. Everyone should have a gun. Honestly, in this video, this guy, if the guy was not a coward, if he didn't just up and leave, if he had a gun, he could have just popped that guy in the back. And we saw that down in the Texas shooting.
There were some extenuating circumstances to the Texas shooting.
Yeah, I mean, we're not going into that. That guy's definitely he's gonna see some jail time, unfortunately, unless the jury somehow acquits him. But those last two shots were sus.
Use your firearm responsibly. Make good judgment calls. Have your wits about you if you're going to pull your gun out of the holster.
My point was, in this situation, one person cannot cover an entire diner. So he turned his back to him, just like he did in this video. The guy had his back to another citizen who saw him come in with a gun, had the forethought to up and leave. But if he had a gun, he could have literally just ended that entire situation, just like the guy down in Texas did. Yeah. So get out there, get training.
Yeah, if you're responsible, get training. If you're a responsible, level-headed individual and you think you have what it takes, please carry a gun.
Yep.
That goes for anybody.
If you've never shot a gun, I recommend going to the range, get a gun, bring your family to the range. It's a fun time regardless. And you will keep your family safe. Even if you don't want to carry it, you keep it in your house. Yeah, we need more responsible gun owners and more people with guns. Safer society. Alrighty, thank you guys so much for watching today.
Guns are cool.
I hope you guys enjoyed this podcast. If you didn't, well, post down in the comments. I love when I get angry messages anyway, so I'll respond to them either way. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please follow us on Twitter at AmericaWakeUp. And if you would like to support this content, please head on over to buymeacoffee.com/wakeup. We greatly appreciate you watching. I am your host, Alexander Graves, the constitutional conservative perspective of the night. This is my co-host, Devin Adler. We should have if you're not interested in guns, we'll have a bit more interesting story tomorrow for you. Hopefully a little bit more lighthearted. But again, thank you guys so much for watching. Please hit the subscribe, like, and rumble buttons. We are trying to hit that 1,000 subscriber goal, and we can't do it without you. So thank you guys so much. Keep it around the chamber. Signing off.
Say no to drugs unless they're free.